My name is Scott Legge, Scottlegge. I've been teaching about 20 years. I think I'm in my 19th year. Think because it's roughly. Started teaching in middle school about 15 years ago, 16 years ago. Taught in middle school for 15 years. And in that, I started a TV show called Bobcat TV. 3 years ago, I'm now in my 4th year, I was asked to come to the high school, and here we are today. It actually started with finding kids who were interested and had a passion for technology. And because I teach BBT 10, which is broad-based technology, I was able to identify students that had an aptitude for videography, editing, and those types of things. And of course, these are kids I was familiar with from my time at the middle school as well. So we started and had the idea of starting a school TV program that would talk about the events and things that are happening here at St. Stephen High School. So that's sort of how the evolution began, much like it did in middle school. As the program grew, the need for gear grew. So we started with these Canon handheld cameras, because when I ran my middle school program, they were still those handheld flip cameras. And I thought, boy, these are great. I was super excited when I had 3 ordered by my high school principal for the program to start. I remember them coming in and bringing them to the kids. I'm like, hey, very excited. And they quickly did I realize how much technology has changed since those days. So we made do with those for about 6 months, and in that time we created some partnerships, and that allowed us to get some funding for the R6, which led to a 24 to 72.8 lens. And from that, as the program grew, we got a second R6 camera, then a third R6 camera. Our need grew because we were doing many projects. Then we got our Canon XF605 camera and the sound. So for our sound, we started with these microphones that were on the cameras. They were good, but not great. And we quickly realized as we were doing interviews and other events that they were limiting. So we had to invest in lapels. We went from 1 set to 2 set to 3 set of lapels. And now in this interview, it's we're using our boom pole, which you'll see from external video, but it shows the progress of what we're doing and the evolution of a program. So sound was a huge one through the second phases, and then lights are also now coming into play. So we're really looking at that whole package, and we have lights set up here as one would do for a professional shoot. We started just doing a 30-minute TV show once a month for the school, and it quickly evolved because as we pushed our abilities and our capabilities, there was also people who were taking interest in what we were doing, and that was providing more opportunities. So we started a TV show, producing a TV show for Brilliant Labs, which is our first sort of gig outside of the show. And in that, it provided us opportunity to create money, to get more gear, and all that sort of added in. And through producing shows for them, it gave us more confidence to spread our wings further. And that's where I decided, okay, East Coast Music Awards were in Fredericton last year. I called them, I wrote them, and as hopeful as I was to allow them to attend, I wasn't sure that they would allow youth to be a part of such an event. They were very excited to have us join. We did the red carpet, we were there for 5 days, we interviewed all the artists, we were part of all the events. It was spectacular.
One of the highlights of my week actually was speaking to the young students from St. Stephen's High School, and so talented, such a bright future ahead of them.
And that gave us an opportunity at the Junos. So we were on the red carpet at the Junos interviewing the who's who of the Canadian music industry. And then from this, it's evolved into Area 506, Atlantic International Film Festival in Halifax. We're going to Music Week Newfoundland next week. And we have opportunities where they're coming to us now without us necessarily having to go to them. And when we do go to a program, people are very excited to work with us because our resume has evolved to a point where we have credibility. We have proof, anecdotal proof, of what we can do. And it's not about us. And it's not so much necessarily always about the artist. It's about the event, it's about the culture, it's about the community. It's recognizing that this is developing those soft skills of comfortability with people and being able to problem solve and being willing to venture out to get the answers and step outside your comfort zone. So attending these events, the bigger events, the stress doesn't necessarily build on us because we're doing it in a gradual way, so it's not thrust upon us. And thankfully, our first event was ECMAs in the bigger sense. And because Atlantic Canada has such a beautiful community of support, The artists were so comforting, and I know we weren't perfect in our interviewing sequences, but they made us feel like we were perfect. And that's a special tie that binds, and so I'm hoping in time I'm able to bring and share this program with Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, PEI, and we're certainly in the process of doing it. Canaan was the most authentic in the response. The Atlantic reps, when they got back to me, Stuart was the one that was most sincere about what he was doing, and his follow-up and his input about what we were building and how we should build it was on point, and he helped me avoid making a lot of mistakes. Stuart was very much understanding what a teacher needs and how we could build a program like that. I think it's effective because our students are getting real life experience. Learning from a book is great, but when you get in those moments of having talent in front of you where you're interviewing them and these people have made a lifetime of their craft and they're experts, it takes a lot of ownership and responsibility to be in this position. And so for youth to see this and to be a part of this, I think it rewires what one can perceive or one can feel they can achieve. And so schools often are missing that engagement piece. How do we get youth to really care about what they're doing? Well, this is how you do it. You make it real. You give them an opportunity to be in an environment that is the pinnacle. Ideally, in the future, this becomes part and parcel every program around the Atlantic region. That's my focus. I'm sure other regions in Canada will eventually follow because we are doing great things. I've been able to create these pathways because I actually want my students to be able to follow them. And in doing so, the province of New Brunswick has set up wonderful programs in place to try to help ensure youth stay in New Brunswick. And the only way that happens is providing opportunities for those youth. And this is what that program does. If we could bring this to Nova Scotia, PEI, Newfoundland, we are creating a better foundation, learning from one another. Yet, ironically, within the school systems, even within New Brunswick, we operate sometimes on these lonely islands. And that's lamentable, but it's easily correctable. And I think that's what the pathway is, and that's where I hope we go. I hope that when I go to an international film festival in Halifax, that there will be another team of youth there covering it from Halifax, or from Nova Scotia at least. But I find it a bit sad that over 40 years of this program, we were the first youth to go and cover it in the manner that we did. I don't want that to be the story anymore. So I want other youth to be able to access this. Programs in high school are going to have to change and modify themselves to be able to accommodate. It's trying to be able to find ways through the day that they could access this learning. New Brunswick does it through personal interest courses, where kids can choose elective courses that they lead and I facilitate. And that's the big difference. And I'm hoping we can find ways in all provinces for that. It is a lot of gear, and it is hard to get funding for all that gear. I would say hard work is the way you get funding for that gear. Putting in the time, ensuring that you're working with the gear you have, and proving that you're maximizing it, then people are more willing to listen and offer. And that initial jump for us was offered through Brilliant Labs and Jeff Wilson, who I could speak for days at their effectiveness as an organization. But like Stuart has done for us, Jeff has just been a sound ear who's helped me understand the right paths forward. Instead of allowing me to purchase something that was maybe not so effective, he helped me understand maybe there was something better or something different that may be more effective for what we're doing. So they offered a great opportunity for funding and support and then partnership. But not just them. You know, our school has been super supportive with giving me tables for all my rooms. Because when I came here 3 years ago, this wing looked dramatically different. And I'm a firm believer that excellence comes from also the environment that you're in. So if we want our kids to become excellent or strive for excellence, you need to provide an environment that reflects that. So having gear is just one element. I retackled this entire wing. I went from having 1 classroom to 4 for all my different sources of technology. And in that, I painted the entire wing over the course of months till 2 in the morning, often through the week and into the weekends, to save money for the school so they could reinvest the money into my program. And some of the kids worked with me on the project, which is hands-on. And as you're seeing from some of these B-roll, it was not a small project. I am prying chalkboards off the wall with a crowbar, tar on the wall that I had to scrape off, 3 layers of primer, 3 layers of cover white, and that's for 4 rooms plus a hallway that's as long as a football field. Painted murals, not because I'm an artist, because I could trace, and because it creates atmosphere, it creates ownership. And so by being willing to invest that time, the school provided opportunity. And we have partnerships now with the Department of Tourism here in New Brunswick. They help fund our TV show Atlantic Spotlight, where we are going around Atlantic Canada featuring events. We've partnered with the town of St. Stephen. We've partnered with Music Newfoundland, Department of Education in Newfoundland. Our reach is far. We've been sponsored by Sonos, by the Caras, the Junos, and also a lot has come from private contracts. We did Fredericton High's high school reunion in '72, photography and stuff for them. We are working with Our Amazing Place, Southwest New Brunswick, which is a competition, an event happening here to reflect parts of our area of New Brunswick. And our high school crew were hired as the main media, covering this entire event. And that money reinvested in helped us actually get our lights. And so it's been a series of partnerships, collaborations, so we're opening these connections. So it's all these partnerships and opportunities that are allowing us to do it, and sponsors are critical. I think that I would like to add before we leave something that's not actually me adding. You know, we talk about what I hope to get out of the program and how is it beneficial to kids, and I could tell you how I feel it's impacting them. I believe it's an engagement and understanding, but I think it's better perhaps if they tell you. So perhaps, Lily, let's switch spots, and perhaps you could tell me, Lily, why this is so impactful for you.
Well, the program feels really impactful to me because when I first came to high school, I was really bad at talking to people, like adults, and people that are professional in their fields. But after joining this group, I developed a lot of soft skills that really helped me come outside of my comfort zone and try other new things and talk to professionals. Some of the challenges for me is definitely prioritizing and memorizing lines, because that's something that I struggle with, but I've definitely improved a lot, and I have seen that improvement as I stay with this group.
I think the reason this program is so impactful is that we get opportunities that almost no one else gets. I don't think I would ever go to any of the places I've gotten the chance to go if I wasn't a part of this. Just recently I was able to attend Harvest Fest, and I was able to go into the pit to record some things, which is something I don't even think I would have been at that festival, let alone in the pit at that festival. So that was definitely an opportunity that wouldn't have been there. The way I came to join Spartan TV is I joined it through the class that was taught to me of the technology, and the opportunity was presented. It was like, does anyone want to do this? I was like, sure, because I've always had an interest in content creation. Things like paranormal ghost shows have always been like my little fun thing. So the lessons that can be taught to me to get to that spot later in life, even if it's just a hobby or a job, is something that I really want to achieve.
I believe that programs like Spartan TV are so impactful for youth is because programs like this give students the opportunities to do things that they never would have done before. I know for me personally, I never would have done anything like what I'm doing right now if it wasn't for things like Spartan TV, and I'm really grateful that I had the opportunity to do something like this.
I think that programs like Spartan TV and Atlantic Spotlight are so important to high school students because they help us build self-confidence and give us a path for where we want to go after high school. For me personally, they've helped me build my social skills and be able to talk to people and helped ease my anxiety in social situations.
And programs like this also help us build our personal style, and they've helped me have confidence in my ideas, and this is mostly due to the experiences that I'm having. One of the most standout moments for me in this program was going to Finn Film Festival, where I got to interact with seasoned professionals in the film industry, which is where I hope to go in my career. And this was an incredible opportunity because I really got to channel my passion, and I think that that's a really important part of this program. The advice that I would give to another person aiming to join a program like this is to give it your all and definitely work on prioritizing what is really important to you, And never be afraid to express your ideas or your opinions, because a production is a team effort, and every voice matters.